Alright, so I just realized, I realized it before this moment, but I've really gotten into the whole neuropsychology or neuroscience aspect of this, like, at all. Because a lot of times stuff happens in my head, and it doesn't happen out loud, but I still assume it's happened, and that's not the case. So, the first thing I kind of want to explain is mindsets, because it also is an abstraction to this study that I have to admit to, / a bias. The way to kind of explain a mindset is, okay, think about whenever you go home, and you see your parents, and you kind of feel younger again, or you feel almost like a different person. I think it has to do with firing into those connections that you had whenever you were little, and then them being there kind of triggers you back into that, back to feeling like you can't make your own decisions, and like you have to hide things, and I mean, that's what happens to me, and I know it happens to others. Or think about whenever you're driving home every day from work, and, you know, you kind of just auto-drive, you're in the mentality of it, and if you think of something else like, oh, I need to get eggs, or I need to get groceries, and then you find yourself at home, because you were just kind of having everyday thoughts, and you forgot to kind of tap into that. Well, I think whenever I went into keto, it was tapping into so many different hormones and different type of releases in the brain than it was whenever I was on, like, carbs, and not even necessarily processed, but just carbs. I mean, it was different type of mental tinkerings, and I do think there's something to the nutrients that you are having is meant to be utilized in a certain way to connect yourself to life and producing and kind of those primal things. And I think whenever we don't give ourselves the right nutrients or the right ways to kind of connect into itself, and it might be also hormones, two are definitely connected, I don't know how much, but when we give the wrong things, I think it tries to compensate. I don't keep using hand motions like they matter, but they're just helping me. And like we try to compensate by using possibly the wrong connections, you know, and that's really fascinating. And then taste itself, I think, is also our mind connecting that nutrient is good for us, because whenever I went from having all that fast food and being so deprived of all the normal nutrients my body was used to, it freaked out, and it wasn't very happy, and I got so suicidal. And then I ate that chard, that beautiful chard, like I just reached for it and I almost couldn't control myself. And oh no, wait, that was the day after. So I went to this place with Thomas, and they didn't have any fast food because it was a fancy place, and I got like spinach and something, and it was the best spinach I've ever had, and I swear just my tongue released all the proper, you need this, and it tasted so amazing. I almost considered going back to fast food just to have that taste again. But my mind was able to connect to my mouth and say that this is the nutrients that I need and I want more of it. And so that's kind of a little bit of the neuropsychology aspect. And then back to the mindset thing is, whenever I was in keto, it was also at a time in my life that I really enjoyed. You know, I got to form maturity connections by being in Fort Worth and making a lot of my own decisions and being in a good relationship. And I think I fear that in that time when I was happy, I'm trying to go back to that mindset more than keto itself. You know, I'm connecting the two, and they might not necessarily be connected. They feel really connected to me, but that would just be kind of biased. And I don't know, I think back on all this stuff, there were random moments whenever I would be in keto and of deep unhappiness, and I always assumed it was part of the situation that I was in. But I wonder if those are the days that I cheated, and I can't go back and figure that out. I really can't. They tended to be so strange. Like, why did that happen? And the more I do this, and the more I notice the contrast, because I have to be healthy and then have something bad to have such a direct connection between depression. Like, I do wonder what would happen if I just stayed on fast food for years, and if I'd be able to overcome that more so than if I was healthy and then felt that contrast. You know, I won't really know exactly what that is, but it's just, that's the whole neuropsychology. And like, the reason I want to get a neuroimaging machine is to be able to be really, really healthy. Like, and I mean my version of healthy, and then I'll try the other version of healthy. Ooh, yeah, that'll tell me which one it is, because I'll try keto, and like on the grass-fed, and like paleo keto essentially, which is just all the grass-fed and organic and blah blah blah, and then have like a shake or have something really processed. And then I wish I could have the shake while being connected in the neuroimaging machine, but I don't think it can move too much. And then have it directly contrast those two things, and then I can also be on carbs for a while and then do the exact same thing, like, you know, still good carbs like potatoes and just root vegetables and honey, and then have that and see how that goes. And then also I do want to hook both Abby and I up to the machine while I'm doing keto, and then she's not doing it, and do natural ADHD processing, like, both do math assignments or both do things that involve future perception, and then see how that triggers and find all that stuff. Because a lot of neuro science these days has been about like developing the technology, not really about how to utilize that technology. But that's so fascinating and amazing to me that they have figured out how to use those machines and make it work across the mind. And we're just kind of getting into the psychology way to use them. But that's all been done for me. I didn't even know it was a thing until a few months ago, and then here it is, just waiting for me, and all this. There's probably tons of studies to even tap into, but I wanted to do this first in self-exploration, and now I'll probably, because I have all this space, and I feel like that part of the study is a little more complete, I can look into this. And, there were tribes I was reading about, and I think it's fat brain, or it's, how did I forget the name of the book? That's just sad. But it talks about these tribes that just ate, red meat and the fatty parts of meat, and all they ate was meat, like, their entire lives, and they didn't have the normal deterioration that we assume with age, and they just were very healthy in eating all those fats, and eating the same thing over and over again, and I can go there and see if they have any suicidal or depressing factors, and I can even hook them up to a machine after we figure out where those firings are from doing my contrasting study of healthy to sugar, blah blah blah, this is where it tracks in the brain, because that's what they sound like. And so it's getting to the point where this can be scientific, which is exciting and scary, because it means that I can be also disproven, which is just really scary for something that I felt, and I highly doubt at this point that there's no validity to it, but it's very scary to go and figure out if you're wrong or right. It's just, it feels so etching possibility. If I had a word, okay, if I could make a sound, it would be like, oh. It's also exciting though. I mean, we'll see. But that's where bias comes in, why these studies aren't super, like, oh, matcha, this type of thing.